When you look at a school district like Great Valley with these, staggering property values, you just assume it's a sure thing. You buy in, you hold on for a few years, cash out, easy. But the data we're looking at today from early 2026, it tells a much trickier story. We're talking a median home price of $924,000,
Yeah.
nearly $1 million, and yet the inventory is just gone.
Right.
Only 44 active listings for the
Well,
whole district.
It's incredibly tight.
Mm.
But here's the hook, right? This is what catches people off guard and, frankly, can get them into a lot of financial trouble. Normally, with inventory that low, 44 houses for literally thousands of buyers, the seller should have all the power.
Right, you put a sign in the yard and the offers just roll in.
Exactly. 5 offers by dinner. But what our source material is showing is that the power dynamic in Great Valley is actually starting to fracture. It's becoming a bit of a trap for anyone who isn't paying close attention.
And that is exactly what we're here to unpack. Because if you're sitting on $1 million asset there, or you're trying to buy one, the old way of doing things, hiring your cousin's friend or the agent who sends you a calendar magnet, the source is pretty clear that method is fundamentally broken.
Oh, broken might be putting it lightly. When you're dealing with an asset of that size, the cost of just hiring someone because they're friendly can literally be $50,000, $60,000. We're going to get into why that is. The market's gotten technical. Friendly doesn't help you with a failed septic inspection.
So that's our mission today. We're going to build a sort of lie detector. We're taking the stack of market reports and some really specific township data, and we're going to give you the exact questions to ask. You'll be able to figure out if an agent actually gets the 2026 Great Valley market or if they're just, faking it.
We're basically going to audit the experts.
Let's start with the big reality check, the numbers. We said 44 listings. The source calculates that as just 1.5 months of inventory.
Yeah. And for context, a balanced market is usually around 6 months. So on paper, this should be a screening seller's market.
That's the textbook answer.
It is. But the data has a twist, because if it were a pure seller's market, everything would be trading at or above asking. You'd have bidding wars on every single property. But look at this key stat, the list-to-sale ratio.
Okay, so that's the difference between the asking price and what it actually sells for.
Right. And in a hot market like this you'd expect that number to be 100%, maybe 105. But right now in Great Valley, it's dropped to 97.7%.
Okay, but play devil's advocate for me. 97.7% sounds pretty good. If I list my house and get almost 98%, I'm probably not losing sleep over it. Why is the source flagging this as a major danger sign?
Because the percentages hide the pain.
Yeah.
You have to apply that 2.3% gap to the median price,
Yeah.
to that $924,000 number. All of a sudden, you're talking about $21,000 just gone at the negotiating table. That's a car. That's a year of tuition at a state school. And that gap, it just didn't exist a couple of years ago. It's a huge signal that buyers have finally hit a wall. They're pushing back. They're saying, nope, we can't pay that.
So the buyers are just completely exhausted. They've hit their ceiling.
I have. But that ratio,
Yeah.
that's actually the lagging indicator. The leading indicator, the one that should really scare a seller, is the price cut percentage. The source says 36.4% of active listings have had to slash their asking price.
That's more than 1 in 3.
Yeah, think about that for a second. The contradiction. You have historically low inventory, 44 homes, and yet 16 of those sellers had to publicly say, oops, we got the price wrong. That is a massive failure rate for pricing strategy. It means the advice they got on day one was just wrong.
It sounds like agents are pricing for the market of 2024, not 2026. They're still assuming that post-COVID frenzy is there, and buyers are just not having it.
Exactly. And once you cut the price, the listing goes stale. It just sits there. Buyers start wondering what's wrong with it. And you almost always end up selling for less than if you just priced it right from the beginning.
Which brings us to our first lie detector question. So if you're interviewing an agent, you don't just ask them, so what do you think my home is worth?
No, that's a trap, because they'll just tell you whatever you want to hear. Instead, you ask this. Specifically, what is the current list-to-sale ratio in the district, and which direction is it heading?
And if they hem and haw, or if they say, oh, don't worry about that, inventory is so low, everything sells over asking.
You thank them for their time, and you end the interview. Because they are either lying to you to get the business, or, almost worse, they just aren't tracking the numbers. And if they don't know that a third of the market is cutting prices, they are absolutely going to overprice your house.
Let's pivot to the geography of the district, because this was one of the most interesting parts of the source material for me. I think a lot of people just see Great Valley as one big, wealthy suburb, a monolith, but the source breaks it down into four worlds.
And it really is four totally distinct economies, almost, inside one school district boundary. It's over 43 square miles. And this really matters because an agent who is a superstar in one of these worlds could be completely lost in another.
Okay, so let's walk through them. World number one, Malvern Borough.
That's your walkable village.
Yeah.
Think sidewalks, coffee shops, the SEPTA train station. The whole value proposition here is lifestyle. You're paying a premium per square foot so you don't have to get in your car for every little thing. An agent there needs to understand things like, historical district rules, parking permits.
And you contrast that with world number two, East Whiteland Township.
A completely different animal. That's the corporate hub. You've got the huge Vanguard campus, all the biotech firms, direct access to the Turnpike. The buyer there is often optimizing for their commute. The housing is different. 2 more townhomes, more planned communities.
Okay, then there's Willistown Township, which the source calls horse country.
Right, and this is where the technical knowledge for an agent gets really, really critical. In Willistown, you're not dealing with little quarter-acre lots. You have large parcels, conservation easements, and, septic systems.
That's a big one. I've heard horror stories about agents who don't understand septic.
It is a $40,000 disaster waiting to happen. If an agent who mostly sells townhomes on public sewer in East Whiteland comes to Willistown, they might not know what a hydraulic load test is. And if that test fails, the seller could be on the hook to replace the entire system before closing. That's not transferable expertise. That's a liability.
And the last one, Charlestown Township.
That's your quiet, traditional residential suburb. Mostly in the northern part of the district. Big lots, less commercial stuff. It's what people picture when they think suburbs.
So a village, a corporate center, horse country, and traditional suburbs. The source is pretty blunt about agents from outside the area, like from Westchester or Downingtown.
It calls them tourists, and I think that's fair. Just because you sold a house 10 miles down the road doesn't mean you understand the micro market of Malvern Borough. You could misprice a Willistown home by 50 grand easy.
So how do you test for this? Is there a number?
There is. The source suggests what it calls the 5 transactions rule. You ask the agent, point blank, how many deals have you personally closed inside the Great Valley School District in the last 24 months?
And 5 is the magic number. Less than that is a red flag.
If it's less than 5, they just aren't seeing the day-to-day texture of the market we just talked about. They don't have their boots on the ground. You want a local guide, not someone who needs GPS to find the high school.
Speaking of local changes, let's talk about the single biggest factor shaping the district right now. The source calls it the defining story. Turnpike Exit 320. Now, to me, an easy pass ramp sounds kind of boring. Why is this such a big deal?
Because infrastructure is destiny? That one little slip ramp completely rewired the economy of the whole area. It unlocked the Great Valley Corporate Center. It's the reason Vanguard expanded there. Billions of dollars in investment literally followed that patch of asphalt.
So for a homeowner, that's just a win, right? More jobs, higher property values?
Mostly, yes. But it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And a good agent needs to explain the tax that comes with it. The traffic on Route 29 is a nightmare now. There's construction noise, more density. If your house backs up to a new feeder road for that exit, that's a problem.
And there's this really specific ripple effect from all that corporate growth that I thought was fascinating. The office to residential conversions.
This is the post-pandemic plot twist.
Yeah.
You have all these massive, half-empty office parks built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. So developers are coming in and turning them into luxury apartments.
That creates a really strange competition, doesn't it? If I'm selling my, 4-bedroom colonial from 1995, I'm not just competing with other colonials anymore.
Exactly. Now you're competing against brand new construction with a state-of-the-art gym, a dog wash, and a coffee shop in the lobby. The source points out that the average days on market for a resale home is around 130 days.
130. That's over 4 months. In a market with no inventory, that feels wrong.
It is. And the theory is that these older homes are sitting because they just look tired
Yeah.
next to the shiny new apartments. If your agent doesn't understand that dynamic, if they can't position your 90s kitchen against that, they can't price it correctly.
It changes the entire story you have to tell about the house. It's not just about space anymore.
Precisely. You have to sell the things the apartments can't offer. The acre of land in Willistown, the lack of an HOA fee. You have to lean into the differences between those 4 worlds. But you have to know the competition exists first.
Let's drill down a bit on specific amenities. The source calls out the Chester Valley Trail.
Oh, this is a huge value driver now. Wellness is the new luxury,
Yeah.
right? And that trail is a highway for cyclists and runners. Proximity to that trail is a line item on an appraisal in 2026. But, and this is the key, an agent has to know the nuance, is the house a 5-minute walk to the trailhead? Great, that adds value. Does the trail run 10 feet from your back window? That might actually hurt the value.
It's all about the details, same with the SEPTA station in Malvern.
The train to Philly is a lifeline. It's about 25 miles. But the real test for an agent isn't, is there a train? It's, what's the parking situation like?
I'm guessing it's not great.
It's legendarily bad. The main lot is full by 7:10 a.m. If an agent tells a buyer from out of town, oh yeah, commuting is easy, but they don't mention that reality, they're setting that client up for misery. A real expert knows about the permit wait lists, the overflow lots, they manage expectations.
I want to circle back to pricing for a minute. There's this tactic the source warns about called buying the listing. Why is that so dangerous in this specific market right now?
It's dangerous because of that 36% price cut stat. Buying the listing is when an agent deliberately overprices your home. They tell you an inflated number just to get you to sign with them. They appeal to your greed.
Oh, this place is amazing. I can definitely get you 1.1 million for it.
Right. And you feel great, you see dollar signs, and you hire them. But in a market where the list to sale is dropping and a third of sellers are cutting prices, starting too high is the kiss of death.
The source says a 5% overprice on a median home is a $46,000 mistake.
And it's not just the money, it's the time and the stigma. You sit on the market for 130 days, buyers think something's wrong with the house, you start chasing the market down, cutting the price over and over, and you usually end up with less than if you just priced it correctly from the start.
So what's the counter move? How do you stop an agent from doing that?
You use their own data against them. When they give you that big, exciting number, you just ask calmly. That's an interesting number. Given that more than a third of sellers in Great Valley are currently cutting their prices, why do you believe my house will be the exception?
Put the burden of proof right back on them.
Make them show you the sold comps that justify it. Not active listings, sold homes. If they can't, they're just buying the listing. They're gambling with your money.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's talk about some specialized needs. The source lists a few of those alphabet soup designations for agents. Let's decode a couple. First, SRES.
Seniors real estate specialists, super important in Great Valley. You have people who've owned their homes for 30, 40 years. For them, selling isn't just a move, it's a huge tax event. Capital gains, estate planning, and SRES is trained for that whole picture.
Then there's RCS-D.
Real estate collaborative specialist, divorce. Look, when the median home is worth almost $1 million, it's usually the biggest asset in a divorce. You need an agent who gets the legal nuances, who knows how to keep the peace and protect the value of the asset during a really stressful time.
And CLHMS.
Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist. That's for the top of the market, the Willistown estates. You don't market a $2 million equestrian property the same way you market a townhouse. It requires a totally different playbook, different connections.
It's about having the right tool for the job. Now, I love this last tip. It's very 2026, using AI to audit your agent.
Isn't that brilliant? The idea is after you interview an agent, you take the specific claims they made, prices are up 10%, this neighborhood is the hottest, and you just feed those sentences into a tool like ChatGPT or Claude.
You're literally fact-checking them in real time.
You ask the AI, based on real estate data for Great Valley in early 2026, is this claim accurate? It's a completely impartial referee. It doesn't have a commission check on the line. It just has the numbers. It's the ultimate BS detector.
That's incredible leverage for a consumer. It forces total transparency.
It really does. And a great agent won't be afraid of that. They'll welcome it because the data will back them up. It's ones who are just weaning it that will get nervous.
So if we pull it all together, we have this high-value market that looks solid on the surface, but it's showing some really serious cracks underneath. You have these four worlds that demand hyperlocal knowledge, a huge infrastructure project rewriting the rules, and this pricing trap that's catching more than a third of sellers.
The takeaway is that good enough is not good enough anymore. Not here, not now. When you have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of your equity on a line, just hiring a friend is a massive financial gamble. You have to interview like you're hiring for a CEO position. Ask about the list-to-sale ratio. Ask about the office conversions. Ask them to explain a septic system.
It really feels like the era of the casual part-time agent in a place like Great Valley has to be over. The stakes are just too high.
The market is demanding a higher level of professionalism. The data is too available and too complex. If you are not a full-time student of this specific market, you have no business guiding someone through a million-dollar decision here.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought, going back to that office to residential shift. If East Whiteland, which has always been the corporate heart of the suburbs, is systematically turning its office parks into high-density housing, are we watching the very idea of the bedroom community die in real time? It feels like the suburbs are urbanizing, becoming these self-contained cities instead of just places people sleep before they drive to Philly.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? If the jobs are there, and the housing density is there, and the amenities are there, what even is a suburb anymore? The definition might need a complete rewrite over the next decade. It's not just where you live, it's where you exist.
Something to think about next time you drive past one of those construction sites. That's all for this deep dive. Check the numbers, ask the tough questions, and we'll see you next time.